no plans at all. Evil man's always transcending. Fighter like sheep, swallow everything. Always simpletons or pretending.
This is your moment of clarity from LeeCamp.net. We cherish the free market, right? That's what we're taught. The free market will guide us and love us, look after us and cuddle us. Just the other day, President Obama quietly fired the head of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, Gary Gensler, because he had the nerve to get in the way of a free and all-powerful Wall Street. Gensler pushed for a small amount of oversight of the derivative swaps market, and if that sounds familiar to you, it's because that kind of lack of regulation is partly responsible for the 2008 collapse. You remember that one, right? That's the one where we bailed out the banks to the tune of trillions of dollars and everybody lost their homes. And yet 5 years later, proposing the slightest regulation to make sure it doesn't happen again gets a motherfucker fired? You see, the invisible hand of the free market is an asshole. It's about as friendly as the hands of the guy giving you a pat down at airport security after you called him a glorified surveillance camera with a cavity search fetish. Picture this. You go home to visit your family. Your mom is there in her crazy dress with one pair of glasses on her eyes and two more lost in her big hair. Your father's there with his fly down and the stain on his shirt that's so common you thought it was a brand logo until you were 25. And your grandmother is there dressed like an elderly Michael Jackson. That might only be my grandma. Anyway, your grandma needs help with everything. Walking around, sitting down, cutting up her meat, and finding the pair of gloves that are on her hands. So you help her out all night long, then at the end of the night you tell your grandma, "It's been great seeing you. My fee for helping you is $10 per hour, so that comes out to about $50 for the evening." At that point, your mother slaps you across the face. Now, why did your mother get upset? She got upset because a market system is not right for everything, meaning using markets to decide where and how goods and services are allocated is not always a good idea, and sometimes if you try and do it, you're being a downright cunty dick helmet. But I thought markets were holy. I pray to them and sometimes rub them on my nipples for good luck. No, markets are shit when you care about something, whether the money is there for it or not. Sending the goods and services to the highest bidder is sometimes viewed as about as savory as making out with your sister, the ugly one. For example, during World War II, the U.S. decided winning was more important than bowing down to a market shoving its fat face where we didn't want it. So the government came up with ration cards. We thought, we need to win the war, and if some millionaire buys up all the sugar so he can have a creme brulee every night, or buys up all the gasoline so he can light the torch to heat his creme brulee every night, we're gonna lose a war because of a tasty treat. We also don't feel the free market has it right during disasters. Even Walmart, the cookie monster of the free market system, if Cookie Monster ate small towns and then shat out steaming piles of misery, even Walmart, following Hurricane Katrina, gave out free bottles of water to the people of New Orleans. What happened to the market? I thought we loved the market. The market would say Walmart could charge hundreds of dollars for that water. But we as a people realize that's not the right thing to do. And here's the part where steam spews out of your head. Even the tops of the big banks, who push the free market harder than Sean Hannity pushes the Q-tip into his ear, even the heads of the big banks don't want the free market for themselves. According to Bloomberg News, which is about as left-wing as Mussolini, the top 5 big banks receive about $64 billion in subsidies from the U.S. taxpayer per year. How much do the 5 top banks make in profit each year? I'm glad you asked. About $64 billion. So this means the 5 biggest banks in the U.S. would barely break even without subsidies. The entire profit of the big banks is, and I quote, essentially a transfer from taxpayers to stockholders. So in a free market, they wouldn't be profitable. The big banks, the destroy our society and piss on the ashes big banks. If there's one thing we need to break ourselves of, it's this downright lust for the market to rule over all else, like it's our daddy, our pimp, some kind of god. As economist Richard Wolff said, that the average American is loyal to the markets is a testimony to generations of social engineering and PR done by the rich. God damn. That's better bullshitting than the team behind Lance Armstrong. That's been your moment of clarity from LeeCamp.net. Several of the general ideas in this MOC come from Richard Wolff's book, Occupy the Economy. Also, there are links to much of the information in the description, as is the link to this song by Billy Ross called Money is God. Keep fighting.
Conceive we created a God by building temples, calling them banks, donating our lives and give thanks.